Hey everybody, K9 Diva here. I wanted to get back to our conversation. We were talking about how important establishing a great, solid, like rock solid, strong relationship with your dog is. How important. And that is really the most important thing when it comes to living a safe and harmonious life with your dog. So, yeah, relationship. Like how do you establish a really tight, close relationship and working partnership with your dog? How do you do that? Well, I'm going to go through a series of things. The first thing I'm going to talk about is play. That's right. Play is an essential part of the social cohesiveness between an animal and the human. Now, a couple things I want to talk about play because there's some misconceptions. In fact, very often when I am teaching my group classes, I will just tell everybody, okay, for the next 5 minutes, start playing with your dog. You would not believe how many people literally stand there, kind of gobsmacked, and stand there and just stare. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to play with their dog. Some of them start rubbing their dog, hugging their dog. Some of them start training. Some of them start like asking their dog for a sit or a down. Now, all those things are good things, especially the rubbing and petting and all that. Great things, but that is not play. A lot of people do not know how to play with their dogs. Some people will even tell me, well, my dog doesn't play. That statement alone is very tragic, and I'm going to get back to that a little bit later. It's not only tragic, it is untrue. I'll get back to that in a minute. So let's go back to the importance of play. So, dogs are one of the few mammals, and let me talk about animals and play. Pretty much play, all mammals, birds, and even insects play. They have discovered have forms of playing when they interact with each other. Now, most animals, as they mature, they play less. Like, for instance, let's take humans. Like, even though some of us do play too much when we're adults, generally speaking, our not just willingness, but our regular play sessions that decreases as we age. There I was listening to something the other day, and I can't really remember who said it, but here's the thing. They asked someone else, when was the last time you, as a child, when was the last time you played with your friends? So, like, let me take myself. When I was a little girl, I had an elaborate set of Barbies, and I'm sure a lot of you did as well. So I had an elaborate set of Barbies. Now, here's what's really funny about me. I had like a complete set of Barbies, like Barbie, Ken, Skipper. Yeah, there was somebody named Skipper. Um, I had that whole set of white Barbies. It's no lie, it's totally true. I had a set of white Barbies, and I also had a set of black or African American Barbies as well. Christy, do you remember her? Okay, people in my age group, you probably do. Christy, his name was Brad. It was the black Ken. It was Christy, Brad, and I there was another one, but anyway, so I had two complete sets of Barbies, and they interacted absolutely harmoniously. I was a little girl. I was innocent, okay, and I was raised that all people are created equal. Okay, I digress. Let me get back to what I was talking about. Okay, so I played with my Barbies, like elaborate. Like I would bring them all out on my porch, and the little girl neighbor who lived next door to me, she'd bring all her Barbies out, and then sometimes other little girls down the street. Anyway, we had like a whole neighborhood of Barbies, and we did these intricate like scenarios and play. Okay, I did that. Thinking back, I can't really remember when I stopped. I feel like It was probably around when I started junior high school. Like I said, I don't remember the exact date because that is the question that was posed by this other person that got me to thinking. He said, there was one day when I just stopped playing with my Barbies. There was just one day when it happened. I can't for the life of me remember exactly when that day was. Like, think about it. Whatever you like to play with. And let's even go further. Riding your bike. That's a form of play. Riding your bike, popping wheelies and whatever, kids do on their bike. When was the day that you finally stopped? Do you even remember? I don't. I don't remember. But I do know that there was one day in my life when I just did not get my Barbies out anymore. I don't know if it was a conscious choice. I don't know if whatever was going on in my life, I just moved on to another activity. Um, for me personally, I do feel it was probably around beginning junior high because I know beginning junior high school, I got interested in other things. I got interested in cheerleading for one. I was a cheerleader in school. So that became very important to me. Going to games with my friends and, boys, and all that stuff. So I'm thinking it was around that time, but I don't remember it. I don't remember that day. Now, the importance of this is maturity is what took me to a whole different developmental stage in my life. I got older. Mentally, I matured. And playing in my make-believe world with my Barbies was not important to me anymore. It was not something that I was going to set aside. Now, we as adults do revisit play when we have children or when we're interacting with children. We do it in adult games like card games and stuff like that. So I'm not saying that we erase it completely from our lives, but it just decreases in importance, okay? Um, dogs. Dogs are a very special animal because they retain that willingness and desire to play pretty much throughout their whole entire lives. Like I will try to say this without getting choked up, but you guys know who have dogs that you take through to their end of life stage. I know that the day that my Dalmatian, William, I never can get through this story without choking up. William's last day on this earth, when I took him outside, he tried to pick up his toy. He picked it up, you guys. He was 14, not doing well physically at all, but he was able to pick up his toy. So, just saying all this to say, dogs retain that desire to play throughout their entire lives. This is why it is so important. And William and I had such a strong play relationship with each other. That was a tie that binded us together. So, again, so I told you I wasn't going to be able to get through that without choking up. Anyway, that's all dogs have that. All dogs have that. However, not every owner taps into that and gets that bond or uses play to form that bond the way I did with William, the way I do with all my dogs. If I go outside with my dogs, they right away are running to find a toy and they bring it to me. Period. Always. All of them. Because that is the importance of play in our social cohesiveness, okay? That's why I have a good relationship with my dogs. Play. So, now, let's talk about how do you cultivate that? How do you build that? What do you do? Because again, as I mentioned at the beginning, there are people who say to me that their dog doesn't play. Well, they don't really play. Or worse, like, is your dog toy motivated? Or any toys? I like. My dog doesn't really like toys. That is so tragic. So, but let me say, there are dogs that if you have never given them a toy or you have never played with them with a toy, they really won't know necessarily what it is. Sometimes people just throw toys at dogs and expect a dog to know what to do. Now, if you've raised a puppy and showed them how cute and fun toys are and squeaked it and wiggled it, then puppies learn. That teaches a dog. But a lot of times you get a dog through a rescue situation where that dog was not played with. Or definitely was not given toys, or more importantly, interactive toys where they understand what that means to have a toy. So that is something that, yeah, you have to show the dog. And sometimes dogs don't understand a toy like you just put it down on the ground. Okay, oh, and you have to make that toy come alive. Because after all, when dogs play with toys, they're really simulating prey drive, disemboweling, when they pull the stuffing out, ripping and shredding. Those are all simulations of what they may do in the wild with prey. So you have to get the dog to understand that. But so toys is a thing that you definitely have to build toy drive. It is not something that necessarily all dogs come with, but there are ways to do it by number one, selecting the right toy. Number two, playing with it in the right way. Number three, making it be interactive. Number four, the dog having some payoff for playing, like some type of positive reinforcement that's associated with the play. A lot of times, if you make the toy smell a certain way, I am not kidding you, I will take like a glove, like a garden glove, rub it in the dirt and squiggle it on the floor and toss it. All of a sudden, it becomes a toy. A lot of things become a toy to your dog based on how you interact with them with that particular object. So yeah, the way an odor on the toy, putting various different scents on the toy, that can make it become more desirable for the dog to become more interested in it. So yeah, sticking a toy on the end of a stick and a rope and swinging it around and pulling it so it becomes prey, all of a sudden, oh, that's not just a string attached to a pole. That is a toy that I have to chase. So the way you implement that toy in the play, interactive play, balls, maybe if the ball squeaked and you tossed it, it's more interesting than just a plain old tennis ball that, the dog, you toss it and then it's alive and then all of a sudden it's dead and the dog doesn't want it anymore. So the way you implement the toy is very, very important. I will be doing more videos in the future that will show that in greater detail. But you know what? Let's not even talk about toys right now. Let's talk about just interactive play. You playing hide and seek with your dog, you playing tag with your dog, kind of, gently pushing your dog away, and then you take off running, and you getting down on the floor and you wrestling with your dog. All of those things, those interactive ways of playing, dogs have ways that they like better than others. You got to learn what type of play your dog likes. But I defy that you would have a dog that doesn't like playing. I don't believe that can be true. What I believe is more true is that you haven't quite discovered what type of playing, or your dog isn't used to that type of interaction with their human. So you have to build it. You have to make it desirable for them. You have to have a payoff for them, and they will understand the play a lot better. But as I said, a dog is a being that will retain that desire and ability to play throughout their entire life, through the puppy stage, through the adolescent stage, through the adult stage, through the senior stage, all of it. Your dog never loses that. Or even more importantly, they never have to lose that. That is something that you can always have with your dog through that life. And that is bonding. It is very, very bonding. A lot of people, who, even though we tell people not to take their dogs to dog parks because of a safety issue, even if, I have not all my dogs, but I have had such a strong play relationship with my dogs that even if I took them to a dog park and I had their toy with me and I stood in the middle of the dog park, my dog would stay right by me waiting for me to toss the toy. They wouldn't run after the other dogs. Those, because they know those other dogs don't have that toy. They don't have that relationship with those other dogs that they have with me. So I become the most important thing. So, how many of you guys can say that you, in a sea of dogs, while you're with your dog, in a sea of other dogs, would be the most important thing to your dog? Like, your dog would choose you over all those other dogs. Well, let me tell you, that's the type of relationship that you want to form with your dog. It is not easy, but it is definitely doable. And it is something that when you have that dog, like training becomes so easy. All the struggles that people have with training their dog would literally disappear if they had a strong enough relationship with their dog. And it does take time to build that. There is no tool that is going to take the place of the relationship. Tools are made to manage a dog's behavior. Period. Point blank. They have no effect on the relationship that you have with your dog. That is a one-on-one thing between you and your dog that cannot be manufactured or manipulated. And it is something that is pure. It is something that is by choice on both you and your dog's part. And it is not something that you can make happen. But you damn sure can put all the odds in your favor that it will happen. You can stack the deck in your favor that your relationship will be a great one with your dog. And that's why I say, number one, that social cohesiveness between you and your dog through play is one of the best ways to get it started. All right. So, like I said, in subsequent videos, I will talk more about play. I'll talk about different toys, how to build toy motivation, all that good stuff. Please join my channel. Hit the subscribe button so you will find out when I make videos. I will be making videos more regularly as we go on. You can also find me on TikTok and Instagram as well. But thanks again, you guys. This is the K9 Diva. Peace out.